Hi everyone! Each week I'm going to post a video debunking myths about yoga, and today for our first video I'm going to talk about two of the myths that I most often hear. One, I hear I'm bad at yoga, and two, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. I want to talk about both of those myths. The first being I'm bad at yoga. That is impossible. You can't be bad at yoga. Yoga is a practice that meets you where you are. And not just where you are on your yoga journey, but it meets you where you are on any given time that you practice. That's what's cool about yoga. One day you can be floating up into crow pose, and the next day you may struggle to get your feet off the floor. One is not better than the other. The practice meets you where you are. So if you're a beginner, the first time on the mat, you don't know where to put your hands or your feet or what, the teacher's talking about, warrior one, warrior two, doesn't matter, right? You're learning, and the practice is meeting you where you are. So let go of any ideas that you're bad at yoga, because you can't be. You can't be, okay? That's really important. I want you to understand that, because there are times when we all get on our mats where we feel like, oh, I couldn't do the same things I did yesterday. You're not supposed to, because in that moment, what you did was the best you could do, and that's okay. Practice meets you where you are. The second myth, I'm not flexible, so I can't do yoga. I can't stress enough to you how unimportant it is to be flexible and do yoga. Okay, so I want to start there. You do not have to be flexible to do yoga. Now, a yoga practice regularly can improve flexibility over time, absolutely, but you don't have to be flexible to do it. Okay, in fact, being very flexible can be a disadvantage in your yoga practice. So I'll use myself as an example. Very flexible, always have been. As a kid, I could, throw my legs over my head. But what that means in my yoga practice is that it's very easy for me to lean into my flexibility and not into strength. So teachers will often tell me, and I have to remind myself in my practice, to back away from the flexibility. Don't just throw yourself into a pose because you can. Back out of it and feel the strength. Work on that stability. That's what's really important for me as someone who's flexible. Also, if you're very flexible, like me, I like to chase the sensation. We like the feeling of stretch. And because we can stretch a little bit further over time, it's very important that we're mindful that we're not creating longer term problems, creating so much stretch that things aren't coming back together. Okay, so this is not to say if you're watching this and you're flexible, oh no, I can't practice yoga now. Absolutely you can. Just make sure that you come into your strength instead of your flexibility, and balance those two sides of it. But if you're also someone who's not flexible, right, as you're learning poses, you're more likely to have proper form, because you're not going to be throwing yourself into positions because it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Every body, and I mean that like everybody and like every physical body is different. We're like snowflakes or fingerprints. We're all put together differently. Okay, so there's not like one is better than another. No, this is our anatomical structure, right? We are made of bones and tendons and ligaments and muscles and all sorts of things that we're made up of. And much of that we can't control, right? You can't control how your skeleton is built. So just know that your experience in yoga is going to be different if you're not as flexible, if you're more tightly put together, right? That's a great thing. That's beautiful. If you're someone who is very flexible, that's beautiful too. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no prerequisites for doing yoga. One thing that I will say, while I like to say that yoga is for everyone, and it absolutely is, of course, always check with your doctor. Some people have certain conditions or old injuries or new injuries that may prevent them from doing certain types of yoga, certain positions, but there's likely something for you, right? Maybe it's a more restorative practice. Maybe vinyasa, flow yoga isn't going to be for you, or maybe forward folds if you have any kind of condition where maybe you get dizzy when you bend over, right? There's different things that maybe won't serve you in a yoga practice. And again, that's why I say yoga meets you where you are. There's something for you, and yoga will give you what you need. But always listen to your body. Always, check with the doctor if you have any concerns, and have some fun exploring a practice that works for you. All right, so our takeaways. 1, you are not bad at yoga. You are great at yoga. And 2, you don't have to be flexible. Everyone is welcome to practice. Whether you're tightly put together or super stretchy Gumby, you can practice yoga and just find what works best for you. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learned something, and we'll be back next week to debunk some more myths about yoga. We'll see you next time.